Good morning. My name is Marc Jones. I'm the CTO at SoftLayer. Super excited to be here today to talk to you about SoftLayer, to talk about kind of what we've been up to lately, and then to talk about what's coming next. I want to start off this morning, though, by mentioning an announcement that was made today. You may have seen it in Nikkei, full-page ad of Mazda announcing that they're using IBM SoftLayer. So I want to start off with a little video that talks to that.
始まる新しい価値を生み出す新しい取り組み IBM のクラウド基盤ソフトレイヤーがマツダのグローバルビジネスを加速させます。
All right, this is super exciting for us. There's no better news or press for us than we have a customer that makes a video like that and talks about the partnership that we have. So this is a great way to start the day. I want to start off and talk a little about SoftLayer. Hopefully most everybody in here knows SoftLayer, but I'd like to talk a little bit about kind of where we came from. SoftLayer was founded in 2005 in Dallas, Texas, by 10 hosting professionals that had been doing hosting for many years. And they wanted to do it a different way. They wanted to focus on innovation. Innovation in the data center. Innovation in networking. They wanted to empower not only their employees to build such a platform, but to empower customers, to give them more capabilities, more choice upon which to build. And integration. Integration is key. We know this today, but in 2005, this was, it was very early days talking about integration, particularly in the hosting space. And SoftLayer evolved to be one of the leading cloud infrastructure as a service platforms globally. And just last year, with a $1.2 billion US dollar investment, we doubled our overall computing capacity in 1 year, which is to say that we actually doubled our data center footprint in 1 year, which is an amazing feat. In the core of SoftLayer, I mentioned innovation, empowerment, integration, automation. It really focuses on what we view as an operations model for cloud. Right? Cloud is not just a technology, it's an operations model. It's a new way to do things, from startups born on the web all the way to the largest enterprises. They're all embracing this operations model, a different way to think, a different way to do things. And then 2 years ago, this past July, IBM acquired SoftLayer. And IBM acquired SoftLayer to be the cloud foundation for everything IBM. So all the cloud efforts would, over time, be based on SoftLayer, be built on SoftLayer, would be delivered on SoftLayer. And then at the beginning of this year, in January of 2015, we announced the new IBM Cloud division. And that pulled together a lot of assets that IBM had and created a division with a singular focus, right? Focus on cloud. It's about pulling together a cohesive portfolio of products and services to empower our customers to build the next generation services on the platform. So this is a high-level snapshot of what that looks like. So you see infrastructure as a service, kind of that bottom layer, is SoftLayer. It really is the foundation upon which all things in the IBM Cloud portfolio are being built. We heard fantastic stories this morning of developers and companies building with Bluemix. Bluemix is built on SoftLayer. It's delivered on SoftLayer. And then as you move up the stack, software as a service, process as a service, all of these properties that IBM has, well over 100, hundreds of software as a service, they're all being ported to the SoftLayer platform. So really, SoftLayer is the underpinnings of all things cloud for IBM. So with that backdrop, I want to talk a little bit about what we've done in 2015 so far. It's been a very busy year for us. A lot of the things I'll touch on today is just a little bit of what we've done. But the recurring theme that you'll see here is SoftLayer really has a focus on choice. So that goes back to the empowerment, empowering our customers. Have a choice in terms of how you build, how you deploy, where you deploy, and performance. We have an incredibly performant platform from a compute standpoint, from a network standpoint, and the services that go with that. We've really put a strong focus on performance. So first up is our global expansion. I talked about it, how we doubled our capacity last year. And this year, we're adding more data centers, more compute capacity globally. So this year, we've launched Montreal in Canada. We've launched Sydney in Australia. We've launched Milan in Italy. And just this week, we've opened Sao Paulo in Brazil. In Q4, we target India. That is net new data centers, new footprint for us, new countries to go into, more choice for our customers. But we've also grown organically. So as our cities that have existing data centers grow, we continue to add capacity. And in some instances, we actually add additional data centers in those cities. Dallas, San Jose, Washington, D.C., Amsterdam. Cities that we've seen tremendous growth, we have to add new capacity, new data centers. And as we expand our data center footprint, we actually expand our network footprint. So this is one of my favorite slides anytime I do a talk. I love this slide because it shows how large our global footprint is. And it's not just about the data centers, it's about the network that goes with those data centers. Every data center is interconnected with our private network. It allows customers to deploy workloads in any data center and have them communicate to workloads in other data centers on a private network. Very fast, low latency, again, performance. We've added the latest Intel processors this year. So the latest Haswell, the latest Ivy Bridge. Again, it's about performance for our customers. We always want to have the latest and greatest because our customers demand it. In addition to adding these new processors to the portfolio, we've actually enabled one of the features that Intel has launched called TXT TPM, which is around securing workloads. And so that's a feature we've enabled in our servers, in our bare metal servers, that allow customers to take advantage of it. And we have partners that leverage that to deliver services. GPUs. Had tremendous demand for GPUs, high performance compute, whether it's compute intensive workloads, image rendering, all kinds of jobs that our customers want to run. They demand the latest and greatest. So we launched the Tesla K80 NVIDIA GPUs this year to go along with a couple of other NVIDIA GPUs that we have. So when you put the latest and greatest K80s in a server with the latest and greatest Intel processors, bare metal servers, it's about performance. It's one of the main reasons our customers come to our platform. Memory. Workloads grow, demand grows for memory in the servers, right? So when you think about cloud, you typically think about scale-out architectures. So you have a certain number of CPUs or vCPUs. You have a certain amount of memory that you can go up to. If you need more, then you have to add new instances and you start scaling out. Well, a lot of databases, for instance, they want you to scale up before you scale out. A great example, SAP HANA. So we've added new options where our customers can actually have 1, 2, or 3 terabytes of memory in a single server. And again, I mentioned SAP HANA is one of the drivers for this. And we can run those workloads on the SoftLayer platform today with these options. But customers take advantage of this for all kinds of things, whether it's caching, it's big data solutions. It really enables a lot of capabilities in the platform. Local storage. Customers continue to create more and more data, and they want to capture every piece of data that they create. They want to store it either for use right now or for potential future use. We've added new options around 6 and 8 terabyte local drives, SATA, and 1.2 terabyte SSD drives. And then in addition to that, our VM platform, we call them VSIs, virtual server instances in SoftLayer. With all of our new data centers now, the VSIs have local storage, and the local storage is now powered by SSD drives. So you can get better performance on VSIs with local storage powered by SSD drives. And then block and file storage. We launched a new product. We launched performance at the end of last year. We launched endurance storage at the beginning of this year. And this is really around IOPS, around guaranteed IOPS. So again, customers are demanding performance, but they want predictable performance. They don't just want peak performance. So when you introduce the capabilities to have guaranteed IOPS, customers are able to build out an architecture, deploy it to the cloud, and have predictable results with their performance. And that's really what our customers are asking for. So we launched performance and endurance this year for both block and file. So it serves many use cases for a lot of our customers. Community. I think one of the areas that over the last couple of years we've really started to dive into a little bit more is community. And that would be third-party communities. Here, SaltStack, Chef, LibCloud, RubyFog. These are all open source projects that either around configuration management or cloud management. And in all of these, we've either created and maintained, or we've helped to add support to all of these for the SoftLayer platform, leveraging SoftLayer APIs. And again, a lot of it comes from our customers. Customers ask us to help enable this. And then, quite honestly, a lot of this comes from inside. I've got Phil Jackson here today. He heads up a lot of our community efforts. He's going to talk this afternoon. But it's really Phil and his team getting out and getting engaged with our customers and with the community to help. Again, I'm going to tie it back to choice, giving our customers options on how to not only build an architecture in the cloud, but how to consume it or how to manage it. It's incredibly important for our customers. And then the SoftLayer community. So if you go to github.com/SoftLayer, right, we have our own repo out there, and we have a lot of projects that we contribute open source. One of the most popular we have right now is around Ember, a UI framework. And our UI development team wanted to leverage Ember in their development activities, but they found that there were a lot of components or widgets that were not as readily available as they were in, say, jQuery UI. So they went and built them. We open sourced it, we put it out there, and now the Ember community has really embraced that and uses it. So it extends well beyond SoftLayer. SoftLayer Python, our most popular language bindings to make it easier to consume the SoftLayer platform, also has a CLI in it. And again, we've got one of our developers that is an amazing Python programmer and pretty much does it in his spare time because he loves to make it easier for, quite honestly, for himself to consume our platform, but that extends out to our customers as well. And just a number of other projects that are out there and active on our GitHub account. So platform usage, what are we seeing happening right now with the SoftLayer platform? So right now we see there's probably a few more than this, but 4 primary use cases for the path to the cloud. How are our customers and why are they coming to the cloud? And this doesn't have to be SoftLayer specific. This is really to the cloud, but this applies to SoftLayer with us. So the first, upper left, moving workloads. All right, so this is, they have existing workloads and they just want to do a lift and shift. Meaning they want to take them from on-prem or in their other data centers and move them to the cloud. Typically, existing companies, enterprises that want to make that shift to the cloud. Bottom left, new workloads. This is where we see a lot of activity in obviously born on the web companies that are startups, but also enterprises. It's very easy to to make that first step to the cloud by producing a new application or new workload and building that to the cloud. You can start small, try it out, grow it, iterate, evolve, and then learn and then do more. And then the bottom right, components to disrupt. What this really is saying is that there's this move now with the cloud native applications and services, right? So these are services that are built for the cloud, they're built to scale, and they're meant to be used as services, as whether that's microservices, SaaS services, they're meant to be consumed, and customers assemble their application using these existing services. So when you have new workloads and you're able to do that in part by developing your own applications or consuming existing new services, it gives you an easier on-ramp to the cloud. And then the upper right, connecting clouds, hybrid, right? This is an area where we see a lot of movement. And this is companies that have existing workloads. They don't want to move them. They don't want to do the lift and shift. They want to leave certain workloads in their own data centers, but they want to take advantage of cloud. So they want to connect the two together. You connect them, and then you can start deploying new applications that can talk back to your existing or legacy applications. It kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Data-driven world. This is, I mentioned it earlier about storage and the requirements. Customers, companies are generating more data than ever, and they want to capture that data, they want to store that data. But a big part of that is there's the storage aspect, which is I need to have a place to store a lot of data, but I need to be able to capture that data. So you have IoT, right? Internet of Things, which is, sensors, wearables, right? My Fitbit, right? Fitbit collects a lot of vital data that you do on a daily basis, and then it sends it back to the cloud. Well, it just so happens that Fitbit goes back to the SoftLayer cloud. And then you're able to access that data and see how you're progressing, hopefully positively. But there's many wearables out there. There's the sensors, there's the mobile data. All of that has to be brought back somewhere, and those companies are leveraging the cloud to make that happen. And when you look at each industry, the need and the focus varies by industry, meaning there's going to be a base level of functionality that exists across every industry, and then there's going to be functionality that is very specific to an industry. Gaming, adaptive algorithms, that ability to collect the data, store the data, have compute, but then to have your adaptive algorithms to help you make your games better, to help you tailor it to your users. Financial systems, right? Machine learning, trying to figure out what's going on in the markets, trying to predict what's going to happen in the markets. And then the science industry, it's really about research. It's gathering data. It's being able to analyze that data, analyze volumes and volumes of data, and make decisions based on that. And when you break that down into an architecture, these are all, again, back to that components, that ability to have services that you can mix and match or assemble together to create. When you look at an API or web architecture, this is a fairly typical architecture that we see on the SoftLayer platform. And the beauty is it allows you to mix and match from the SoftLayer portfolio. So the API tier at the top could be virtual servers because it's very easy to scale horizontally. It's very fast to scale. When you drop down to the back end of your database or a compute-intensive tier, you can leverage bare metal servers for that because you can scale up and get extreme performance on that before you need to scale out. Gaming. As I mentioned, whether it's gaming in this case or really any of the IoT use cases, it's about collecting a lot of data coming back. So you need to have this tier that could be a compute tier that could be stateful or stateless, but it's really that tier that needs to collect that data. It needs to be highly scalable, highly resilient, and you can leverage virtual for that. You can leverage bare metal for a baseline and use virtual to burst. But again, when you drop back to the back end, this is a lot of data coming in that needs to be stored, analyzed, and then ultimately that adaptive algorithms, how do I impact change back into the games themselves? financial architecture. So there's a lot of data coming in. So again, that ability to capture streaming data in real time, analyze it, alert off of it, store it, process the data, continually looking for trends, storing that data, and then just iterating on top of that. And then the scientific, again, lots of data coming in, needing to be analyzed. This is really where we see a lot of bare metal compute with GPUs. It's a lot of data, tends to be very mathematic intensive, and customers really take advantage of the GPUs for that. So future trends. So that's what we see today, right? So that's kind of where we are, what our core focus is. But when we look at what's next, what's coming, I think one of the biggest things we see is OpenStack. And I think you'll hear a lot about that today in the various groups that you go to in the breakout sessions. But from a SoftLayer standpoint, we're actually putting a lot into OpenStack right now. We've launched OpenStack Swift, which is our object storage platform. We launched that about three and a half years ago, and that is still the platform that we carry forward. But we really didn't do much beyond that for OpenStack. But late last year, early this year, we really started to dive into OpenStack to learn everything we could about it across all the major projects and figure out how we could bring it into SoftLayer. Does it make sense to bring it into SoftLayer? And what could we do with it? So we have a lot of activity around OpenStack right now. And as you probably know, you see that in IBM, right? IBM is a very large supporter of OpenStack. We have a lot of contributors to OpenStack. And it's very key to the future of IBM Cloud. So within SoftLayer, we're really looking at the Nova project for compute. And we're looking at it both for virtualized compute, but also looking at the Ironic project for bare metal. We're looking at Cinder for block storage. We're looking at Keystone for identity and security. And we're looking at Barbican, which is a key management service that's in OpenStack. And there are many more projects that are part of OpenStack that we take a look at. Solometer gathers the data, allows you to report usage off of it or ultimately bill off of it. The important thing is that this is an ecosystem of projects that are really built to all work together. And it's one of the primary focuses of IBM Cloud right now is to have a cohesive portfolio of products and services that make it easier for our customers to consume the platform. And with OpenStack, you have an open platform, you have open APIs, and you have a very, very large ecosystem and a very large community. And the pace at which OpenStack is being developed is increasing rapidly. Every 6 months at the summit, there's more and more people attending, and there are more and more contributors. So it's an incredibly fast-paced project. And then when you step back and you look at some of the larger assets that we have in IBM Cloud, obviously we've got SoftLayer. We've got IBM Bluemix, which is platform as a service. We've heard a lot about that today. It's a PaaS, it's a platform as a service, but it's also a platform through which services are getting delivered to end users, right? Watson services, Cloudant services. Makes it much easier for developers to consume those services. Again, built on SoftLayer. And now, with the acquisition just a couple months ago of Blue Box, we have an OpenStack option to deploy local and dedicated. When you go back to the hybrid story that I was telling about customers wanting to connect environments or to have a choice in terms of where they deploy, but still have cloud capabilities, Blue Box provides that. And so when you look at a cloud portfolio that gives you the option to deploy to a public cloud, to deploy to dedicated, that's in a public cloud, but dedicated resources just to you, or you have an option to go local. You have more choice as a customer in terms of where you deploy and what you deploy. And the beauty of this is that we're working on the integration across all these environments. So to have a single pane of glass that you can use to view public cloud, dedicated and local, and manage across all those environments, that's a huge game changer. And that's an area that we're very much focused on. going to skip those two, and I'm going to wrap up right here. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Jesse Proudman. Jesse is the founder and CTO of Bluebox, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about Bluebox.